All right, everybody, we're here at NerdCon in Mount Bellevue, Texas, and I have the pleasure of interviewing probably one of the most iconic women in anime, Miss Tiffany Vollmer. For those who don't know who you are
the voice of Bulma from 1998 to 2008, the OG in the house.
That's right, the Bulma in the house. It's absolutely amazing. I grew up watching Dragon Ball in middle school, and it was awesome. And to be honest with you, listening to you talk earlier on your panel, I heard Bulma and I was seeing Bulma, and it was super surreal. Have you, watching yourself, how did that make you feel seeing yourself for the first time?
So this is a great story. The very first time, I knew I was doing this cartoon and I was going out and recording out in Fort Worth, and I lived in Denton, Texas, and I was a college student. And I worked at a bar up the street in my little college town. And while I was at home one day, they didn't really tell us when it was going to air. We just had to kind of catch it on TV. And we'd always watch Cartoon Network to see if it's coming on. The first time I ever saw myself on TV, I was at my house by myself. I lived in a fourplex. I had neighbors upstairs, neighbors across the hall. There was a fourplex behind us. Not one person was home. It was me by myself in my house, and I'm on TV. But hey, you guys, I'm on TV. And nobody was there to enjoy that very first moment that I had when I realized I have arrived. Sort of, And then when I would go back to the bar, they kind of made a drinking game out of it. And while I was bartending, they would turn Dragon Ball Z on the TV at the bar. And every once in a while, they would turn the volume down and make me do the line right over the loudspeaker at the bar. Right, I would say the line on TV, and then they would hand me the mic, and I would say the line in the microphone so the whole bar could hear. And, everybody had to drink anytime Bulma came on. So I like to be the bringer of joy. And when your character is a drinking game, you oftentimes can be responsible for lots and lots of joy.
Well, and that's probably the epitome of being a voice actor is when people can look at the TV, watch you, and then look at you and go, do the line. What part of you did you channel to voice Bulma?
When I auditioned for, when I went to go audition for Funimation, and are we on a timeline or are we just willy-nilly? It's okay. Because I will talk. I'm just letting you know. Hey, out there in podcast land, I'm going to talk. I'm a talker. When I auditioned, I read for 7 different roles. So I read for Dende, Chaozu, Young Goku, Young Gohan, Chi-Chi, Hwar, I think, and they really, I think they cast me more for my natural voice than they did a lot of the other characters, because her voice is more like my voice than a lot of the other characters that, you know what I mean? I thought I wanted to be Chi-Chi because I thought Chi-Chi was Goku's. I didn't know much about the show. I thought, well, if Chi-Chi is the main character's wife, I bet she gets a lot of screen time. And boy, was I wrong.
Boy, did she not.
And Cynthia Cran's the girl that plays Chi-Chi. She really loves it when I bring that up. But she also got to play my mom, so that was really fun, too. She got a couple of extra roles out of that. I read for 7 different roles, and I think they picked the one that was most suited to my voice. And I would say that my director, the producer that I auditioned for that cast me was Barry Watson, and he directed me to bring kind of a Carol Burnett He liked that waterfall. Whoa! So I channeled Carol Burnett a little bit, I guess, or like Lucille Ball, kind of. That was my inspiration for that character.
I can totally see the Lucille Ball in it now with the whininess. That's I never looked at it that way. That's really cool. And ladies and gentlemen, Bulma was based on Lucille Ball. And
Love Lucy.
how could you not? And Carol Burnett. It's just wow. So I know you don't have a whole lot of interaction with the other voice actors that you do. But you're good friends with a lot of the other voice actors, and it's kind of a family thing.
We commiserate together. Oh my God, I had a 4-hour session, and it was warm, and somebody farted in the booth, and it was
Oh no. I mean, how do you cope with going after somebody in the booth and like they were really smelly that day?
Air freshener, deodorant is key. And you can't really spray anything in those booths because it will get in the equipment, and it will also affect my vocal cords. I don't like to have that around me. So dryer sheets work real well.
That's a good trick for you guys out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you trade secrets here. Trade secrets of being a voice actor. Carry dryer sheets into the booth to get rid of any unseemly smells.
So, speaking of trade secrets to being a voice actor, what is your big thing about when people ask you, how do I become a voice actor? What's the best thing you tell them?
I mean, I could speak for most of the cast when I say that most of us voice actors started off as actual theater performers. We've trained for this. We've studied for this. Some people are lucky enough that they just kind of chanced into it, like Elise Bauman, who plays she does the voice of Pan. She's very interesting. She's got a podcast too that's really fun to follow out there. But anyway, so I went into this audition like I would any audition, and I ended up getting the lead female role, which was just amazing. My first actual audition outside of college. But I mean, I was prepared not to get a role. It's what I do. I'm an actress, and you go to a half a dozen auditions and you don't think twice about hearing back from anyone, and I just so happened to have gotten the first role I tried out for. I didn't have an agent. I was in the right place at the right time. I knew who Chris Sabat was from college. There were a lot of celestial things going on in my world at that time that brought me to that. I met Chris Sabat several years previously in college, and I ran into him the day I found out I failed my math class and I wouldn't be moving to LA. And he said, "Oh, so you're going to be around for a little bit. You should come audition for this cartoon I'm directing on Cartoon Network. And I've heard you sing, I've seen you perform. There's still some really great roles left. Why don't you just come to the callback auditions on Monday?" And that led to me calling him on Monday and saying, "Hey, should I be doing some research maybe and try to figure out what role what I'm reading for?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, but I've got a VHS tape." VHS tape. I don't know if you kids know what that is out there, but so VHS tape.
I drank a lot of water.
And he said there's a copy of it at my house with a piece of paper that will show you the picture of all the voices that you're going to be reading for. What he failed to mention, what he ended up having to mention is that he was in Fort Worth at the time, so he told me I was going to have to break into his house. So I did. I went to his house, and to the left there was a window to his office, and I was open, and I opened it, and I crawled through the window, And I went to his office desk, and in the top left-hand drawer, there was a VHS tape and a folded-up piece of paper. And I looked at it. I took the VHS tape home. I watched it a couple of times. I went to the audition. I read for, like I said, 7 different roles. I didn't even audition for Chris. And 2 weeks later, he said, is Tiffany Vollmer there? And I said, what's that? And he said, that's your new character on Dragon Ball Z. And so when people ask me how I got into voice acting, I tell them it's by failing my math class and breaking and entering.
That was not an admission of guilt.
Oh, and don't try this at home. This is only for professionals.
Don't break into people's houses. That it ends up badly, especially if they're there. They did a movie on that, where a bunch of kids were breaking into actors' houses a while back. It was a thing. I don't. It doesn't matter. That's not what we're discussing. I do that a lot.
I did have a fan call me out of the blue at my house one day. Found my phone number on the interwebs. Don't go doing it, kids. Don't you find those phone numbers on the interwebs. We had landlines, though, back in the day, and, the caller ID was on a little box next to the phone. It wasn't in your phone.
Back when you had to ask your mom to get off the phone so you could get on the internet, yes. And you could hear the yeah, that was the sound of the internet back in the day, guys. So, yeah, that's, so your voice acting career aside, you have quite the background in other things as well.
I do a lot of production work. I've been a writer, director, producer. I'm an art director. I'm an artist. I like to paint. I like to draw. I'm a costume designer. I do makeup design. I'm the author of an acting program and a makeup program for Media Tech Institute in Dallas, Texas. That I'm also the chair of both of those departments. You can find out more on my my programs if you can go to www.mediatechinstitute.edu. And you click on there and you can see all about the acting and the makeup programs.
Yes. Check out that website. I'll be checking out the website because I understand you have a facility coming to Houston soon.
We already have a facility here in Houston. It's called Media Tech, and I am trying right now to get the accreditation to bring the acting and the makeup programs that we have in the Dallas campus to the Houston campus. We're hoping to have that in 2020. So,
very nice. I'm sure that my wife will be thrilled to know that I'll be spending more money on my education. However, I feel like this, if I take this road with the acting road, I feel like she'll be a little more happier with me because
you'll have access to our facilities, so you'll be able to use all of our professional studios to do your podcast, to do your voiceover demo reel. You'll actually have everything that you need to go out and get a job as a professional actor by the time you graduate. It's only like, what is it, a year and a half? It's only 4 quarters, and it's an associate's degree program that's accredited by the ACCSC, and we're also accredited by the Texas Workforce Commission.
See, that's even better. I have pretty good audio equipment. I mean, shoot, this mic that I'm on right now is pretty top of the line, and I'm not picking up any of what he's saying on this thing, and which I think is amazing because it's over the loudspeaker, and I'm not picking up any of that. I can hear it, but it's only because I have one ear. This is an interview mic, and it's a Sennheiser MD46, and it really only works as long as you're talking in the general area of the microphone. It is. They sell them on Amazon. They're about $200, and it is. And I bought it specifically for situations just like this. While we're here at a con, it's noisy, but I mean, it's just us. And yeah, check out the fans that are coming by and are like, yeah, this is Bulma. You talked about the Media Tech Institute. I was going to ask you about that. So doing the makeup and the costume work, have you make-upped any famous people?
Oh, sure. I mean, I worked on a film not too long ago, I guess it's been a couple of years now, with Of course, now the names are escaping me. I worked backstage on Billy Joel's musical on Broadway, Moving Out, doing wigs for the wig shop. I got to meet Billy Joel. It was surreal. The only thing that came out of my mouth was, "You're Billy Joel." And he shook my hand and he said, "Yes, I am." And I was standing backstage. He went outside on the stage for an encore and played New York State of Mind, Piano Man, and Uptown Girl. And then that, like, made my life.
I don't think I would have been able to say anything.
Yeah, but Emma Roberts' father, Roberts.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts, yes, he is just delightful and charming as ever. I worked with him on a film. Leslie Jordan, Jennifer Coolidge. Leslie Jordan just made another comeback in American Horror Story, the 1984. He's a real short little guy, older gentleman. Anyway, he's fabulous. Deb Tinker. Those are just some of the bigger ones that I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Is it difficult to name drop when somebody asks you to?
I mean, yeah, I've just met so many famous people, you know, like I had breakfast with Elijah Woods last year, or, you know, I run into Jason Momoa, or I know the voice of the Gremlin, you know, like the con circuit is a real fun place to meet your peers. You know, it's definitely not Hollywood or an award show or anything that I, you know, wish I would be winning stuff at, but that's okay. I'm just teasing. Those things would bore me.
Because then you just have to build a shelf to put it on, and then you only win one, and then you have to get more because it's going to be lonely.
Well, not only that, but, you know, those things are heavy. So if I'm just, like, lifting it with my one arm, my other arm's not going to get that extra muscle tone, you know, because I'm going to need two so I can do an even workout, and then my posture won't get messed up, and the chiropractor gets involved. Yeah,
who needs awards? That's, you know, coming out to the cons and meeting all the fans. And, I mean, just for me, like, when I walked in here, somebody was like, "Hey, I know who you are." And I was like, that's funny. And he goes, no, you're... And I was like... And I showed him my shirt, and he goes, yeah, you're Walker the Geek. And I was like, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Dude, I actually listened to your show." And I was like... Sir, like, it blew me away for a second when somebody... Because... It's surreal. It's like, you know, I don't know. I never know what to say when somebody recognizes me, especially since my face isn't out there very much. And I mean, as a voice actor, your face isn't really out there very much.
I love that. I love having my anonymity. I was at a con and went to lunch with Lori Petty from Orange is the New Black and Tank Girl and all those fun things. And I mean, she could not even go to the bathroom without people trying to touch her. People were like, some woman brought her a glass of water because she wanted us to order it from the waitress. She's like, "I don't even work here. I'm not a waitress, but here's your glass of water, and can I touch you?" And that would make me crazy, but I can actually have real conversations with real people, and then if it slips out that they're Dragon Ball Z fans and I want to make their day, I let them know. But if not, a lot of people don't even know what I do if I just meet them off the street.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and to listen to your voice, like, I would know that you were Bulma, but only because I hear it a little bit now. But
people have recognized my voice, not my face, but people have definitely. My brother in Sioux City, Iowa, was at a baseball game for the minor league baseball team up there, and over the loudspeaker, the umpire had made a bad call, and over the loudspeaker, he heard, "You jerk!" And he looked up and was like, "That is my sister." That is my sister's voice from Dragon Ball Z. And sure enough, you know, they'd used a little soundbite from the show that they were using in their commentary on the loudspeakers there.
So, I mean, how did that make you feel?
Oh, you know, it's just weird. We were in White Plains, New York not too long ago, and we were sitting on a panel. There were a bunch of us. I think Mike McFarlane was there, maybe. No, Josh Martin was there. Anyway, it doesn't matter who was there. There's a bunch of Dragon Ball Z people. And somebody stood up and said, "Hey, when you auditioned for this job, did you realize that 20 years later you would be known as a pop icon? And I cannot wrap my brain around that. I mean, I get it now because I do conventions and I see the people that were in love with the show are grown-ups now and they get to share it with their children. And that for me is the most exciting, is to see people still enjoying the show and then being able to hand it down to their families and watch it with their family. I know for my family, my husband had never seen an episode before we got married. We were told we would never have children. He watches it now with my 4-year-old.
That's amazing. And he gets to sit there and every time you pop, that's my mom.
My daughter, now knows when Krillin's talking that's Sunny Straight, and she knows all the characters. She's been to so many cons with me that she now can identify their characters with their voices and their actual human names. So,
see, I love watching the show, and I'm really into the show, and I mean, just all the animes in general, but meeting a whole lot of the voice actors and stuff like that, I think that's the really coolest thing in the world. And it's just like I stop and I just kind of go, like it's strange meeting them in real life and going, you don't look anything like your character, and you don't really, I guess put it together. And it's just, I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh my gosh, autographs and sign this photo, and other people look at it and they go, that's who?
Doesn't bother me. I didn't get paid any more for people to know me, and I certainly didn't get paid any less for people to know me. So, it is what it is. If you're a fan, you're a fan, and if you're not, you're not.
How was it essentially being, you know what I'm going to say, because nobody at Cartoon Network listens to the show. How was it kind of being Cartoon Network's essential slave?
It was really difficult on us with the way that our scheduling was for doing the actual work, because they had timelines where they wanted us to crank out a bunch of stuff, and it was, it's hard to scream for 8 hours a day, especially my character, who's always, whoa, And after about 4 hours of that, it's exhausting, and then 4 hours later, can be damaging to your throat. It just, we're better at it now. I think we were all kind of surfing through uncharted territory, and once we've all been doing this for a while, we realized that the people at Funimation are much more considerate with the way the voice actors are being worked. So.
Okay, one final question before I say thank you. Who's cuter, Yamcha or Vegeta?
Okay, by far, Yamcha is a cutie hottie. But Bulma is a genius, and she knows that if she's really going to have this Super Saiyan child with him, that her, is an offspring thing. It's better to have an offspring with the Prince of all Saiyans. And, thank goodness we aren't bought by Disney, because that would just be the next thing is, hey, Bulma's a Disney princess. But she is the Princess of all Saiyans. So that's pretty cool, right?
Now, if that were to ever happen, how would that make you feel, Bulma, now being a Disney princess?
I think my daughter would think I'm way cooler than I already am.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. I hope the con today was super awesome for you and you had a lot of fun and you got to meet a lot of really cool fans like this young lady right here waiting to meet you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And please make sure to check out MediaTek Institute, www.mediatek.edu. Also, please go to the OG Bulma page on your social medias. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, the OG Bulma, original gangsta in the house. And peace out.
Awesome. Thank you.